First and foremost, I want to say hi to the Haas. Henry had my spot not too long ago. See, I'm not going to date you. He was a county supervisor, and so he comes to these meetings to check up to make sure I'm still doing him proud, and I hope I am. But I know many of you. It was a pleasure to meet your family, all the kids here. But I want to, you said something that triggered a thought when you were talking about immigration. And if you can indulge me just for a few minutes before I talk about what we're doing in Maricopa County, I'd love to share that with you. So my grandfather on my mother's side was born here a year before statehood, in 1911 in Morenci, Arizona, a mining town. And he was an infant. His parents were of Lebanese descent. They were Lebanese. They lived in Lebanon, and they just happened to be here and they gave birth. They took my grandfather back to Lebanon. As a young boy, they came back to Arizona through Mexico. And my grandfather's name was Tony Corey. And so when he came to the border, they said, well, Tony, you're fine, but your father's not a legal citizen. He can't come into the country. And they sent him away. My great-grandfather told my grandfather, Tony Corey, Tony, you're on your own, good luck. He was 13 years old. He couldn't read or write to the day he died. Yet he was the first licensed auto dealer in the state of Arizona, living right up the street, it sounds like, from you. And it was in the family tradition for 82 years. So that's one example of what immigration means to me. Now, on my father's side, the Chucri side, my father was born in Beirut, Lebanon. There was, we were Christian, there was a Muslim who had died, very well-known Muslim. And they wanted all the shopkeepers and all the store owners to close their doors in honor of this Muslim who had died. Well, my grandfather said, we empathize with your loss. However, my friend and I own this deli, we run this deli, we can't afford to close, we've got to feed our family. And a fight broke out, and my grandfather was stabbed to death in front of my dad, who was about 13 at the time. So my dad carried him home to his mother and 4 sisters, his 3 sisters. His mother was pregnant with the 4th. And she found out she had cancer, and that she wasn't going to survive. So they had to come to the United States because a family here in Arizona was going to adopt the infant child and raise her, and my dad was going to raise his 3 sisters. Do you know how they came here? With pleas, with the need for help, with the luck of Senator Carl Hayden, who wrote letters and got my family to immigrate here through Ellis Island, New York, and everything else. So my grandmother passed away. She's actually buried right up the street at Mesa Cemetery. I never knew her. And my dad went to work at Bash's as a produce manager to raise his sisters. So that's what immigration means to me. So when my 7-year-old's iPad's not working and he complains about it, I said, sweetheart, you think you have problems? Let me tell you about your ancestors and the problems they had. So when we talk about in the debate about immigration, we all have a personal story. I'm a first-generation American. But you can come through and you can come to America the right way. And that's the way it happened with my family. So let me tell you about being a county supervisor. I took this job 4 years ago.
Come a little closer
Sure.
and speak a little louder.
They're
Okay.
keeping up.
All right, good.
No, it's
I'm
fine,
sorry.
it's fine.
So is that better?
Right.
Edna, can you hear me?
It's fine.
Is that better?
I can hear
Okay.
you.
So 4 years ago, I had the good fortune of being elected. I still have the good fortune of running the Arizona Restaurant Association and being a county supervisor. My district includes, like I said, 9 cities, 2 Indian communities. I take in the northern part of Gilbert, all of Mesa, all of Scottsdale, Arcadia, the eastern quarter of Paradise Valley, parts of Apache Junction, Fountain Hills, going further north, we've got Cave Creek and Carefree. And then I've got the Fort McDowell Indian community, and I also have the Salt River Pima Indian community, 800,000 people. And so when I first got into office, we said we wanted to bring a business mindset to government. And then we were able to do some pretty amazing and neat things. But I counter back, now that I just got reelected to another term, I hearken back to what is public service. Is public service, I said to my wife, I had never been called Mr. Chucri or supervisor more times in my life than the first 2 weeks I was elected. Now, you can envelop yourself in saying that you're an elected official and that you should be treated with respect and hang your hat on that. Or you can just be yourself and see how much you can get done. So let me give you a few examples of what I believe in Maricopa County's motto is citizens serving citizens. What I believe true public service is about. It's about, I think, doing what people like you ask us and want us to do. When I was campaigning for office, we had a 43-page dust permit in Maricopa County. If you were a developer, you had to fill that out on a regular basis. 43 pages. And I said, we're gonna call that back into something that's more meaningful. My campaign consultant said, be careful, you don't want to commit to too much. I said, if I can't do that, I should be running for office. The first 90 days in office, we culled it back to 7 pages, and it's all online. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if you're not filling out a 43-page dust permit, but wait, it gets better. So we bought the old Arizona Republic building right here in Mesa for $1 million. Our head of facilities comes to us and says it's going to be $3 million to rehabilitate the building into the condition it needs it in. Poor Mark Freeman and his wife have heard the story 10 million times, but it gets better. And so we said, who spends 3 times the amount of the purchase price to rehabilitate a building? You don't need granite countertops, right, in county or government buildings. The idea behind getting the building in the first place was that we were going to co-locate our employees that were spread throughout the East Valley into one location, so we were going to save on the amount of rents we were paying. And then secondly, we were going to gain some efficiencies by having everyone in one place. We accepted the resignation of our facilities manager 2 months later after that proposal. Her successor, total cost, $689,000. One decision, one staffing decision, saved Maricopa County taxpayers $2.4 million. That same person today, 4 years later, has saved county taxpayers almost $100 million by going out and rebidding till we got the best price and saying, no, Formica is going to be the kind of countertops we have. And OSHA can't dictate what our buildings need to have. If they say they have to have them, we'll find a cheaper and better way of doing it. Right now, the Madison Street Jail that sits empty is going to be the new office of our county attorney, Bill Montgomery. I said, Bill, you've got stainless steel appliances, you've got these automatic opening and closing doors, it's beautiful wrought iron. The amount of money we're spending for all of our attorneys and our public defenders throughout Maricopa County is enormous. We're going to put them all in one building. You want to talk about adaptive reuse? It doesn't get any better than that. And it's right next to the courthouse. Now here's the bad news. It's going to take us 25 years to get our money back. I mean, at some point you got to pull the Band-Aid off, right? So now we're figuring out how do we call that back to 20 years to where that return on investment is there. The checkbook you have in your right-hand drawer at home is no different than the checkbook Maricopa County is using. That is the mindset that we have. And we're getting so granular that we have devices on our fleets that calculate how much gas is being burned. And you know what we found out? We found that our employees are doing their paperwork while the car is idle. We're finding out that some of our employees are speeding. We're finding out that some of them are running red lights. Not anymore. And we think we're going to save maybe $1 million to $2 million just by having reforms on, you go inside to do your paperwork. You don't have your car idle when it's 120 degrees out and you're sitting in your car in a parking lot. That makes no sense. I got to tell you, common sense ain't all that common in certain forms of government, but we're doing the best we can to make that happen. Another couple things that we're doing that I'm very excited about coming the public realm, the public defense, the smart justice programs we're doing. Let me tell you something. Everything you hear, see on TV about jails, and I'm going to be careful what I say with kids in the room, it's 100% true. The gangs, the drugs, all the bad things, 100% true. Do you know that our jail system is the 3rd largest jail system in the United States? We're the 4th largest county in the country. With that comes responsibility. Our biggest concern right now, our biggest issue, inmates killing inmates with their bare hands before our detention officers can get to them. So I asked our county clerk, we get sued quite a bit, how many times was I named in a lawsuit in my first term of 4 years? She said just under 1,000. But guess what we're doing? We're fighting back. We're saying if you think you're going to come after Maricopa County because you believe we have deep pockets, think again. we're going to countersue. There are so many frivolous lawsuits that get filed against Maricopa County. You get in a traffic accident, oh, it happened in Maricopa County, we're going to sue the county too. It's that kind of stuff. But with the Smart Justice Program, not only are we fighting back on these lawsuits, we're also getting very, very adept at how we're adjudicating things. So now, instead of taking criminals, felons, down to the courthouse, they're a flight risk, it's very costly to do that. We're getting cameras in a cell. On one side is the judge, on the other side is the inmate, and we're doing arraignments through teleconferencing. That is expected to save county taxpayers $3 to $4 million. So when I talk about these things, did Amazon stop at 5-day delivery and say, hey, we're doing great? No, they went to 2-day delivery. Now you can get it the same day within 2 hours. What we want Maricopa County to be is we want to act at the speed and likeness of the private sector, of the Amazons of the world. We want Maricopa County to be the next Amazon of government. And I got to tell you, it's been really, really rewarding to be able to do some of these things. And the more that we can do, the more we can have a business mindset, the more we can defend against what all of you expect us to do, the better off I think we'll be. So that, in a nutshell, I can keep going on if you want to hear other areas, but that in a nutshell is what's happening right now in the county. We've got a new sheriff who's learning the ropes of what's going on. My priority there is that we get into compliance as soon as possible. The federal judge that has put a monitor on Maricopa County is fixated on this. I hope now that the sheriff, Arpaio, is no longer the sheriff, he relaxes a bit and we get this done. But I can tell you, the monitor alone, the situation we had in Maricopa County in 2016, the bills exceeded $23 million. The Department of Justice mandated this on Maricopa County, and our goal is how quickly can we get into compliance. This has happened to 2 other cities, Detroit and one other. And it took the city going to the Department of Justice and saying, wait a second, we are in compliance. And because why would the monitor, if he's getting paid so much money, and I'm not casting aspersions, but if the monitor is getting paid so much money, where's the interest, right, in saying, hey, why do I want to stop that? And make it more and more difficult to get into so-called compliance. So if we have to go to DOJ and say, we're done, we're in compliance, we don't want the monitor anymore, we don't want the taxpayers to foot the bill, we'll do so. Before I take questions, I'll talk about one last thing. You heard of this place called Chase Field in this lawsuit now that we're in. Let me tell you what really happened. And a lot of this is in the paper. There's some things I can't, now that we're in litigation, share with you. If you think your car depreciates, try owning a stadium. We had an agreement that was done with Jerry Colangelo and my predecessors that said the Diamondbacks will pay $4 million. That money gets reinvested into the stadium, making sure it's operational, making sure it's functional. So when we found out that these repairs were needed, we did them. We estimate there's about $100 million in repairs, maybe just a little less, that still need to happen at the stadium. The team believes it should be 180. Now we can agree to disagree on what. Do you need to change that billboard? Do you need to change that lighting system or that scoreboard? Some of that we can agree to disagree on. But that being said, I am not in favor of going to the public, going to you and saying, we need more of your taxpayer money to fund a nicer and better stadium for a team that's very wealthy. I refuse to do that. So what we said is, look, let's come to the table and work something out. No, we want less rent. Well, you agreed to pay $4 million in rent. And look, I'd love my mortgage reduced, but the mortgage company is going to say, we agreed to these terms. So we try to be resourceful. We try to find avenues in which we could do it. I get a phone call from an attorney last June saying, hey, we hear you have a business mindset. Would you be willing to sell it? I said, I'm Lebanese. We'll sell everything except our family and our integrity. Let me investigate and see what we can do. So we learned that we can do it on 2 conditions. Condition 1, the team has to sign off on it. Condition 2, it has to be sold at market value. So we went and found a buyer that was willing to put the money into it, that was willing to pay $60 million. And do you know what I wanted to do with that $60 million? We were going to return it right back to the taxpayers as a credit on your tax bill. They came in that this buyer would come in, they would put the $180 million in. If that didn't do the job, they were willing to build a brand new stadium. Guess how much taxpayer money was going to be paid into that? Zero. There was a new stadium built for $1.8 billion in LA, all privately funded. So don't tell me it can't be done. The team would not sit down with the buyer. Whatever the reasons were, they said they wanted to see the cash, that this buyer could really do it, one. Two, they wanted to see the plan. Now think about that for a second. If the team could negate the plan, why would you show them the plan if they could buy the stadium themselves and use it? Makes no sense. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that they couldn't reach an agreement, but I'm optimistic that now that we're in a lawsuit, that the right thing will happen, arbitration will occur, and we'll figure this out and keep the team there. But I'm not willing to keep the team there at the expense of the taxpayer. And I hope you all understand that. I know we have kids in the audience, and baseball is a great family event, but there comes a time where you have to put your foot down and say, enough's enough. We have an agreement that we have to be honest to, and we have a fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayer. That's the long and short of it, folks. There really is no hidden component to any of this. That's where we are. So don't believe everything you read in the paper. But we're going to stick to our guns, and we're going to ensure that we defend the taxpayer in this deal, and that we're not going to give money away just because it's a baseball team that wants it. And I don't think Ken Kendrick or Derek Hall are bad people. I really don't. I think they're very good people. But we just disagree on this very, very big issue that's important to them and that's important to us by way of the taxpayer. All right, I hope I didn't put him to sleep.
Can you talk a little bit about how people can engage effectively at the county level?
Sure.
Make a difference?
Sure. I give my cell phone out to people. My office is open, and we invite people to call us. We have all kinds of issues. We have flood control issues. We've got issues with property taxes that people believe maybe might be wrong. We've got issues with our planning and development, with the sheriff's office. We have, sadly, people who have kids in jail that need assistance. I've had all kinds of those issues alone. People have called my office. As far as lobbying us on issues, we're really not like the legislature in that way. We are an extension of the state. So think of us as an arm of the state. So we're handling all those things that fall in between state government and the city of Mesa and the work that Mark Freeman's doing. Like the county sheriff, the county attorney, flood control, planning and development, environmental services that keeps pools and restaurants safe. So my issue is if you have a problem or a concern of something where the county touches you, or a property tax issue, or anything else, or you live in a county island, you let me know what the issue is, and we're happy to help. I don't know if that answers your question. Yeah.
What's the status with the new sheriff and wanting to be a sanctuary county? I heard
That's an
something on the
excellent
news about how often he or how early he notifies ICE and so on and so forth.
That goes back to part of what I was saying. I was at Home Depot on Friday night at 8:45, and Paul Penzone calls me and says, "Hey, here's what's going on." And then Bill Montgomery calls, "Hey, here's what's going on." He actually texted me. And so it's a difficult situation. The federal government has been very clear on how long we can hold people. Bill Montgomery, and we haven't had a meeting on it, I think we're having a meeting next week. Bill Montgomery's concern was, look, if we detain these people, we're going to invite more and more lawsuits against Maricopa County. And so I want to learn more, because my first question to Paul Penzone was, I don't want to let hardened criminals out. And don't tell me that a judge knows best and they'll hold someone that they believe shouldn't be out on the streets, because I don't believe that. And so my concern, and my primary concern, is those people that need to be held behind bars because they are a serious threat to our community need to be held behind bars until ICE can come and pick them up. Those that aren't, if we're breaking the law according to the federal government, well, we can't break the law. So I know I'm oversimplifying it. There's much more to it than that, Henry, but at the same time, I haven't been fully briefed, as this doesn't directly involve the board. It more involves the sheriff and the county attorney. But more to come.
If the federal government says, you're being a sanctuary county and they cut off funds, how will that affect the operation?
I don't think it will get to that, because I don't think you can argue we're a sanctuary county in that regard. And when it comes to the amount of money we have to pay to hold these people, they can't say that we're doing it because there's some kind of self-gain there. But more to come on that. Once I think I learn more about what's happening, we'll do it. But I think the last thing Maricopa County intends to be is a sanctuary county. Yes, sir.
On the Department of Justice monitoring of the county, you know, probably extremism on both sides, and there's probably certain compliance issues that have to be brought into play, but is there a chance that the new Department of Justice will look at this differently? They'll be monitoring it
I
differently?
like your thinking. Yes.
So
Yes.
it's gonna come from both ways. We're gonna come into compliance, and they're gonna, Reinterpret that.
Some of what happened, look, I will tell you, Sheriff Arpaio did a lot of good things for Maricopa County, but I think some things he took too far. And this was one of those things. However, when Judge Snow ordered this court order against Maricopa County to have a monitor, it would be like me drawing this line in the sand and said, once you reach this point, we're going to consider in this one area you're in compliance. But guess what? The line kept moving. And that's, you know, there's an Arabic term that I won't say because there's kids in the room. But I will share with you, that is not fair. That's BS. And we called them out. And so when you have an Obama administration that was looking, that we were told, to issue certain mandates from the DOJ at certain parts of an election cycle, what do you think they're going to do, right? And so we are hopeful that we can get into compliance very soon, and that this new administration will recognize that and call the monitor off and say, we're good to go. We're very hopeful about that, because the cost of the taxpayer is enormous. Enormous. They all want their own cars, all these inspectors, they want their own offices, they want their own expense accounts. It goes on and on and on. And guess what? Guess what? You're not going to believe this. They did not want us to look at backup for the invoices he would send us. He would send us $300,000 invoices, and they wouldn't provide backup. And so we as a board, one of my board members went to Judge Snow and said, if you don't let us see the backup for what bills we're paying, we're going to go to the Arizona Republic. I mean, that's not right. We're just going to blindly pay bills that the monitor is sending us? That's not right. And that's not the fiduciary responsibility we have to the taxpayer. So our eye is on the ball. We're doing the best we can in that regard. But I see very good, bright days ahead for Maricopa County.
One last question? Or
I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
What little I've heard about sanctuary cities was Phoenix, but I thought that wasn't going through.
It's not, from my understanding.
But as Mesa and some of the other surrounding cities, are they involved with sanctuary cities?
I'll let Mark speak for Mesa, but no, I do not know of any county or any city in the state of Arizona that will be a sanctuary city.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody.